What's going on, Tamers? It's your boy Varney, and today we are right after stream. We just placed 18th with this Magnamon armor list. Unfortunately, I bubbled out. I ended up losing to my last two rounds to Devas and to Yellow Vaccine. The first person I lost to was the eventual winner. So it's not too bad of a loss, but bubbling out of top 16 sucks. I don't get to cover myself in the meta snapshot. With that in mind, let's go over the deck profile. So starting off here, first off, we've got the only reason you would even think about playing this deck for Ukon, because this card is just dumb. Let me raise up the brightness here for y'all, so y'all can see this a little bit better. All right, yeah, we're gonna blast the lights here. So we got 4 Ukon. Honestly, there were games where I would just mull for Ukon. I would love to see Ukon opening hand. Being able to just go Ukon, play Promo Davis, play Vmon, and then when Ukon comes up next turn, you get to do it all over. Well, not do it all over again, but you get to hatch a new egg and Digivolve and do all that sort of shenanigans. Ukon is just really, really good in the deck. I would definitely play 8 Ukon if I could right now. That's how dumb this card is. But like, this card is really good. This card is definitely why this deck is a lot better. It helps speed up the deck a lot. And I'd honestly say that like I lost some matches, or I had a tougher time in some matches because I didn't see the Ukon. So being able to see that Ukon turn 1 and then to follow up to get that speed going would be really helpful. So we got the 4 Ukon. Now, next up, we've got the 4 BT12 Gen Con Vmons. That's the arts. This is the 4 Imperial Vmons. This searches top 3 for an Imperial or a free trait and a Davis. The end of turn is negligible, inherited. You don't care about DNAing in this deck. We don't run the Shakumon. We don't run Chimera. As helpful as those might have been, we don't run those. We're just mainly playing this so that we can search out anything in the deck, because almost everything is free trait except our Magna X for now. And just being able to pull our Davises, because Promo Davis is just really good for this deck. So with that in mind, we also run 2 more searchers. So this does the same exact thing. This is the starter deck Vmon. It searches top 3, but it only takes a free trait. It does not take a Tamer. So it's literally like half of BT12. It's still good because you can search the entire deck, which is great. I definitely had situations where I wanted to see more searchers. So that's a change I'm definitely going to be making. Next up, we have got 4 jamming Vmons. We got 2 different arts here, so I'll show them off because we're a live deck profile, so why not show off the arts? So I like the jamming Vmons, but at the same time, these cards feel like really big negs at time, because off of Promo Davis, I would rather play like a searcher or even the Promo Vmon so that I could Digivolve for cheaper into my Magnamon. Playing this gives me no value because most times I'm going to Digivolve this anyways. And then obviously I run the 1-of Ukon because it's a 1-of. So putting this on top of Ukon serves you no purpose. It's cool if you can like do this and then go into BT8 Magnum, unsuspend, then you get jamming, but this card was underwhelming, all things considered. Like, I wouldn't not run it, but I would rather have ran like more searching Vmon. So that's a change I'll definitely be making. And the last for our rookie lineup, the best, arguably, if Ukon is the reason that the deck runs well, this card is the reason that the deck, like, I don't know, works. Like, Ukon gives you the speed, and this card is just dumb. So this card, when you would Digivolve into a free trait, if you have a Tamer, reduce the cost by 1. That is something that is very important to note, because I did not know that in the beginning of my run. But being able to Digivolve into any of your Magnas for 2 cost, making them a regular cost to Digivolve champion, is phenomenal. I absolutely love that. And the when attacking is not a once per turn. So I definitely had situations where I was able to like swing Armor Purge, go into BT8 Magna, unsuspend, swing again, and get 2 draws. So I really like that aspect of it. This Vmon is just so good. It's worth the price of admission. If you're gonna play a Magnamon deck, you need 4 of this Vmon. This Vmon brings the whole deck together with Ukon for sure. Next up, we have got 4 of the BT8 Magnamon, or sorry, BT13 Magnamon. This Magnamon, I have a love-hate relationship with it. It's not bad, but I can definitely see why people only run like 2 to 3 of this. Personally, I like it because it's a floater. This one doesn't have Armor Purge, but it does let you play out a Vmon from source or from your hand, which really came up a lot So first of all, when it would leave the battle area, you can draw one. The big thing that I used it for was getting the Vmon that I wanted in play. So if I had, you know, for example, jamming V in source, I don't want to replay jamming V, but if I've got promo V just chilling in my hand, this Magnamon is nice because now I can bring out that promo V, and that's much more useful to me than the jamming Vmon is, hence why I'm putting down the jamming Vmon. But also just being able to get you a card draw no matter how you leave. DP reduction, game mechanic, you know, chaos, deg, deletion, bounce, you die to security, but it doesn't matter. I like it for that, so I'd still run it at 3, but I'm definitely going to take one out so that I can run one more of the BT8 Magnum, because this card is just so good. This card is really a really good offensive piece. So it unsuspends no matter what. You're always going to unsuspend on Digivolve, and then it gets 2000 DP for each armor form in your trash. So it's easy for this to get buffed up to like anywhere between, I'd say like 6 and 8k. That's about consistently where I got tonight. I would definitely wish I had more of this, especially in like the yellow vaccine matchup, because they got so much DP reduction going on, and this card being able to make use of the fact that they're deleting your stuff, get that DP buff, is just really useful. So definitely putting this one up to 4 and bumping the BT13 down to 3. It's got blocker and armor purge. Like I said, it's a really good offensive piece. Next up, we've got... Alright, so we talked about Ukon helping the deck speed. We talked about movie Vmon being the reason to play the deck. This is the card that makes the deck stupid. Like, Ukon, no, Ukon doesn't make the deck stupid. Promo Vmon doesn't make the deck stupid. This card makes this deck stupid. I did not realize how absolutely bonkers and insane this card is. So it's got blocker and armor purge just like BT8, but the most important part about this Magnamon is that on Digivolve, you trash the top card of one of your opponent's Digimon for each of their colors. So if they're a 2-color Digimon, you're trashing 2 cards from their top sources, not the top card itself. And then you return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution source to the hand. This card put into work all day. This card is... This is a straight up like, why did you print this card? Like, this punishes any deck that's like a dual color deck, because being able to strip 2 sources and bounce is insane on a level 4, especially off of Promo V if you're going into it for a cost of 2. But then even on monocolor stacks, like depending on what they're building off of, and with a card that you'll see later that I put up that I wasn't running as much of, this card just puts in so much work. And it's also got a security effect, because let's not forget the security effect. It is a D-Digivolve 1 on 1 Digimon. Doesn't specify if it's your opponent's or yours. So the play is that you can have, you know, a Vmon set up with a Magnamon here. You can pop this out security. You can D-Digivolve this, and then the second part of the effect reads, at the end of the battle, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into this card without paying the cost, so that you could Digivolve into this for free. You're going to get to strip sources from your opponent's Digimon, and then bounce it if it has no Digivolution source. And then you just got another, like, free draw. It's just, I could gush about this card all day. This card is stupid. Absolutely stupid. This card is probably the best card in the deck. Yeah, I'd say this is the best card in the deck, because if this card wasn't in the deck, I wouldn't have won half the matches that I did today. Not at all. Not the slightest bit. Next up, we got a card that I hate. Don't play this. Just don't play this. Don't play this. You see this? If you're thinking about it, I see you. I'm looking at you through the screen. Don't play this. This is a bad card in this deck. This card did not do what I wanted it to do at all. I thought being able to recover and get that DP minus would help me more. It didn't. It did not. Not in the slightest bit. You know what I would have rathered? This boy. There's only one of them. You're seeing that right. I hate that I only ran one of this boy. This boy put into work whenever I saw him. This card is a menace because this card is capable of removing anything in the game, and it's why I hate Zudo Ace the most out of all the aces, because even Magna Ace, like sure, you get recover 1, but it's restricted to if you're 6 or less, and you get to, you know, neg based on how many security you have, but it's still got a limit, right? This card, trash 2 Digivolution cards, then bounce a card with no source to hand. This can remove anything on the field. Level 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Starter deck Magna, my chat is saying starter deck Magna to Zudo Ace is bonkers. If you go this, you strip 1 source, and then you Digivolve this, and then you strip 2 more sources, what What are you having trouble with? Fanglong. That's like the only thing. This card is dumb. I'm running this card at 3. I regret not running it at more. If you guys are thinking about playing this deck, you need to play this at 3. I wouldn't even say 2. This card is just, it's... Next up, we have got ourselves 4 Magnamon X Antibody. It's your top end. Some decks don't out this card. For the decks that can, you know, they out it. It's whatever. But like, Red Hybrid. Hey, buddy. How you doing over there? Oh, you wanted to delete me? Okay. I'll put it to top of security. Oh, I still got an armor purge underneath. It's all good. Yeah, it's just for the decks that can't out this card is great. It's just a really great top end. It forces your opponent to deal with it, which is why they almost always do. The card reads free recovery +1. That's literally what it is. Card is literally just recover 1. Whenever this Digimon would be deleted, you can top deck. You can put this to the top of your security to prevent that deletion. So it's effectively, yeah, a recover 1. I would still play it at 4. I can see this going down to 3, to be honest. I can see this going down to 3, and obviously come BT16, I'll probably run 2 max. This card is still good in this current iteration of the deck just because it's your top end and you do need a top end at times. Awakening of the Golden Knight on top of BT8 and this is a really good combo. But outside of that, you know, I could honestly bump this down if I needed to, and as I'm talking myself into it, I might, so I could bump up some other cards in the deck. Moving on to our level 7 lineup. First off, we've got the one of Omnimon Merciful Mode, which never came up for me. It was in security. The matchup that I wanted it in, so that I could bottom deck, I just wasn't able to get into it, unfortunately. I arguably should have, you know, done this Merciful Mode play on top of Magna X, just give my opponent a bunch of memory and bottom deck their trash when I was playing against Devas. But I opted not to because of something else, and then it bit me in the ass, and yada yada yada. It's not a bad card, but like, I'd say that more often than not, I just didn't need it. In the matchups that I could have used it in, I probably could have made it without it, so I just won't play it. That's what it boils down to. It's not a bad card, but this is going to free up deck space for some other card. Next up, we've got Ruin Mode, which put in no work for me today at all whatsoever, not in the slightest bit. I don't hate the card, I love this card, but I played 8 matches today, and I played a total of 8 times 2 is 16. I played 18 games, and not one moment did I say, damn, I wish I had a Merciful Mode. Or maybe I might have done a Merciful Mode once. I think I did it once or twice. But it's good, but I just didn't need it, to be honest. I really didn't need it most times. I was really just rushing and just swinging at security. This card is great to lock some decks out of game, but you know what really came up for me, what put in more work? Seeing my Death X. Yellow Vaccine, this card was great against. I wish I had seen it against some other matchups. Numemon, I was able to, well, first of all, they bricked, so I'll preface with that. But I'd say Numemon is also, I'm able to like kind of be both aggro and just a little bit defensive all at the same time. So if I ever needed this, like I wouldn't. The big problem with Yellow Vaccine is I didn't have my Zudo Aces. If I had my Zudo Aces, we would have been good. I think that's how that boils down to. But it is unfortunate. It is what it is. Out of the 2, if you were going to play 2, I would definitely play 1 Ruin, 1 Dex. But I think I'm just going to drop everything else but Dexmon and just focus on what else the deck is trying to do, rather than trying to worry about what matchups I might need this for. Next up, we've got 1 Protoform. I love this card. I wish I could see this card more. This card was so good being able to go into my Magna X for 3. I wish I was able to see it more consistently, so I could have gone into my Magna X for 3, but also what this card is really good for is being able to pull any one of your sources back from that stack. So if your opponent deals with it, whether it's by DP reduction or deletion, doesn't matter what it is, there's an interruptive effect when it would leave the battle area other than by one of your effects. So this recovers to security and you get to pull a source back to hand, which in my case, I do want to play 2 of this. I'm going to see if I can fit 2 so that I can justify, well, not justify, because I'm going to play 3 Zudomon Ace anyways, but even though it's going to cause overflow, it's going to get deleted, it doesn't matter. If I can pull back my Zudo Ace and just keep recycling those dirty motherfuckers, or my Magnamon, the starter deck Magnamon, I just wish I was able to see this card more, so I definitely could play more of this. Next up, we've got 1 Awakening of the Golden Knight. This card was a great one of. I definitely had times where I was digging for this card, obviously against Fanglong and against Yellow Vaccine. Would I have liked to see it at 2? No, I don't think so. Like, it does let you Digivolve into your Magna X for cheaper, because it lets you Digivolve one of your armor forms into a Magnamon in name for a cost of 3, and then it can't be DP reduced. So what I was actually at one point looking to use this card offensively, which is why I'm going up to 4 BT8 Magnamon, because I had enough memory, but I just didn't have a Vmon on field. Obviously, I don't run armor, armor texture in this deck, and my Magnamon didn't die, so I was looking to get into another BT8 Magnamon, so I could just play this, go into that Magnamon, unsuspend, and then take my last check. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see it. It is what it is. I could consider running this card at more than 1, especially because of its security effect. Being able to return a Magnamon from trash to hand, that came up when I didn't expect it to pull this dirty, disgusting card back to my hand. But there are other cards that you want to run, so it's kind of like, it's like a battle of we need 60 card decks. That one's for Dan. Next up, we've got 2 Heaven's Judgment. I would definitely say this card wouldn't work. I don't hate this card. What I hated was not being able to cast this, not having a yellow source, which was unfortunate. And there's just nothing you can do about that. I mean, when this card kicks off, like being able to do neg 18, neg 24, at one point I did neg 30 because I had yellow, blue, black, white. So neg 30 is just stupid, but no. I wouldn't not run. I could maybe run 1 and run more bounce, but I think this is fine. I think I'm fine with this. I don't think I'm changing this at all, to be honest. Next up, topping out our removal, we got 1 of Full Moon Meteor Impact. Card is, alright, I was gonna say it's goated, but it's just bounce. It's cheap bounce because you're only ever really gonna play it for at most 7, if not 6, unless they have like a Gazimon on field. But sometimes you can play for a little bit less, like 5, or if you're bouncing aces for whatever reason, like I had to at times, it does make this card cheaper just to get them off the field. I am putting this up to 2 because I definitely had situations where I wanted more removal, but the problem with Heaven's Judgment is it requires you to have either a green Digimon or Tamer in play to cast it if you don't have a yellow source. We don't run green Digimon or Tamers. So just being able to cast this because it's blue and we run blue eggs would have been really good, and I wanted to see more of this. But like I said, Heaven's Judgment is just still really good. You would not run this card. So gonna put that up to 2. Now moving on to our Tamer lineup. We got 1 Tai Kamiya. I know, it's not a Davis. This card, it's not bad. I think I'm just gonna go back to running Davis though. I guess I'll talk about both my memory setters right here. So we run both, 1 of Tai Kamiya and 1 of Shu. Shu isn't really good in this deck, I'll be honest. It never came up for me. Everybody wants to remove your Magna X, so you're never going to get the Alliance. Come BT16, it's a lot better because your opponents can't touch your Magna X. So, well, most times they can't touch your Magna X. So Shu comes up a lot more in those matchups, but today did not come up for me at all. And I wished that I had literally anything else. It didn't matter. Just was neg. Tai is good. Tai does synergize with the deck because it's just when an attack target is switched all turns, you get to suspend him, draw 1, and gain 2k DP. So it's really good. You can use it offensively and you can use it defensively, depending on how your opponent decides to block or redirect attacks. It makes your Magna X 13k. I never had it come up. It's like I said, it's not a bad card, but I just generally, since I'm gonna run 3 Zudo Ace, I'd probably just rather run my Davis so I can search out the Zudo Ace, because it's the one way I'll be able to pull into the Zudo Ace. You can play around with it. You can find out which one you'd rather run. Tai's not a bad pick at all. If you like it, play it. That's really what it boils down to. Next up, we've got 3 Promo Davis. Promo Davis is absolutely fantastic. You play this so that you can spit out a Vmon. It's on play, you activate one of the effects, you just play the Vmon. So you play this and then you get a Vmon out, and then at the start of main, if you have a Digimon with the free trait in play, you gain a memory. So this is like the Davis and Ken replacement. It's not a true replacement, but it is a good way to gain memory that isn't playing Davis and Ken, plus help you advance your game state, because being able to use this, you play out your Vmons, and then whatever you want to do. Like, I normally use this, play out Searcher, Search Card, then Digivolve. Like, that was all for a cost of like 5 to 6 instead of 9. You know, playing the Tamer is really good. I definitely like 3 in this deck. I wouldn't go down below 3. And if I had space, I would definitely run 4, to be honest. you play a total of 14 VMons. Being able to play them out off of this, get Tamer effect, being able to, you know, gain memory and all those sort of shenanigans is really good. I'd like to run more, I just don't have space, unfortunately. Next up, we've got our one of Louis. So I wanted to play 2 Louis, but you'll see what the last card is. I don't run 2 Louis because Louis is unfortunately just it's a different. I don't know where I was going with that. I'll be honest. It's not Digimon Emperor. Obviously, it's a lot more of an offensive piece. The biggest thing with it is sometimes it can feel like a neg. Like I definitely had a situation where like I didn't have anything in raising, and I was like, well, this Louis is dead. But to be fair, so was Digimon Emperor, so it wouldn't have mattered. But Louis is really good as an offensive piece because it's the same thing with the Mimi from BT8, I think it is. I think the one where you tap her when you have a level 5 or higher green Digimon, you hatch an egg and then you can tap her again and bring it out. So what Louis combos with really well is when you do like an Ukon play and then you hatch a new egg and then you Digivolve and then you can drop Louis, you can bring that out and that can swing because that came up and that was a very good play. I would like 2 Louis at times, but I think 1 is fine. It's just a really nice piece to help complement your offensive capabilities, and you also gain a memory every time you move a Digimon from breeding to battle area. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not like the most make or break card. What I would say is a really good card is Digimon Emperor. This came up big a lot of times. It forces your opponents to not have to rely on their level 3s if they can help it. Digimon Emperor is an absolute... It's not as much of a menace as starter deck Magnamon. That card's a pain in the ass. But this card definitely makes your opponent think, I want a match because of the way this is worded. Being able to make your opponent lose that 2 memory before their start of main phase to force turn pass, that came up. Just being able to say, okay, cool, you were going to go to, you know, 6 memory off of a Patamon play, but instead you'll just be at 4 type thing. Digimon Emperor is very good. I would definitely run more of this if I could. I could consider dropping a Louis, but I just like the Louis as an offensive piece and I wouldn't consider dropping it, to be honest. So I think I'm just good with 1 Digimon Emperor for now. It also serves as like an auxiliary draw engine, which I never used today because I never felt like I needed draw power, except in the matches where I didn't have it. Being able to tap this when one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon is deleted, you can draw 1. Again, never really came up, but... or it came up because like there was a lot of deletion, but again, I never needed the draws. So that's that, and then I didn't go over the eggs, so we'll just touch on them real quick. One of Pokemon. Do I need to explain this card? It's restricted. Do I need to explain why we run Pokemon? And then, since I said that, do I need to explain why we run 4 Wanyamon? Because Pokemon's restricted. Otherwise, you'd play Pokemon at 4, because that's just the way the cookie crumbles. It's just dumb. I would consider dropping Wanyamon. Shout out to Panzer. Panzer runs the EX2 Xiaomons, which is while you are level 4, all turns you gain 1000 DP. I could definitely consider running that, or the starter deck Demi Vmon. While you have 8 or more cards in hand, you get plus 1k, but that's a your turn only effect. Just because I never felt like I needed the draws off of this as much. But I am a little bit of a menace for just being able to get myself out of jams, knowing that I can rely on my draw eggs. So I probably won't cut these to run anything else, but those are definitely options that you can consider. But if we had 4 Pokemon, you would run 4 Pokemon, straight up. Anyways, that is it for this deck profile. Thank you guys for watching. We placed 18th with this deck. If you want to play it, it's not that expensive. The most expensive piece here, I think, is this boy, which I'm not going to say you need. Like, you could probably get around not using this. It's because I think he's like something like $10 right now. And this boy, which is something like, gosh, $12. But, you know, in terms of like a competitive deck, like if this is a deck you really like, if you want to play Vmons as a deck, you can get the demo deck Vmons. Those are cheap. You don't need the Ruin mode. I would have a Dexmon, so that's $60, but you're still less than $150 for a competitive deck. This deck with base rarity level 7s that I'm running would be closer to like, I want to say more like 300, because 2 cards alone are like 180, but honestly, you really don't need those. You can rely on what the deck does and do what the deck does better than, you know, anything else. Anyways, that is it for this deck profile. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please drop a like, drop a comment, let me know what you thought of this deck profile, and also subscribe so that you know when future videos come out. Anyways, until I talk to you guys next time, peace out.